Welcome back to the Director's Garage Live. I'm your host and resident idiot, Michael, and yeah, we're back. Oh my goodness, guys. What a, I'm telling you, what a week we've had. There's construction going on the house right now. So that's like, let's start with that one. And so every now and then you're going to hear some low rumbling, and it's not me passing gas. It's this guys with this like air hammer or something going on underneath the house. So apologies there just to begin with. Secondly, I literally did not think I was going to live stream today. I got this all put back together about 15 minutes ago. The camera was out on another project, so it was like everything was all collapsed and in bags and sitting in my car and in the garage, and then in the real garage, the director's garage. and then I thought, well, you know, I've got a little bit of time here and I can't really go anywhere. My wife wanted me to go somewhere with her, but I'm like, the guys are still finishing up work on the house. I don't feel right just leaving them here. I mean, everything's a little bit out. I mean, everything's just a little bit, like even the headroom is just a little off. Am I even in focus? I can't even tell. So everything's a little screwy, but you know, here we are. I put it all together. I had to pull the sticks out, had to wire the camera back into the system, power the camera, power the monitor so I can actually see what the hell's happening, and all of that stuff, get it all wired up and ready to go, and boom, here we are. So welcome, happy Friday. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Lots happening around here. I want to talk about, I have a new purchase coming. Actually, it's here, and that'll be for, the episode 133 is very close. I probably could get it out today even, but it would be late today, and I'll just hold it. I just don't know if I should release it on a Saturday or if I should hold it till Monday or Tuesday, because it'll do better. Saturday releases don't typically go very well, but maybe I'll just spit it out there because I feel so bad that I haven't been able to get regular content up. But that's a full review of the ZMF Caldera, which is not back there. Where'd I put it? Where'd my Caldera go? Oh, I think it's up on a stand. So the ZMF Caldera review, full review, and I even did like some interesting comparisons with the Abyss 1266 TC, and of course the Susvara. Everybody's asking me, what's it like compared to the Susvara? They all want to know. So I'll answer a lot of that in the next episode. The episode after that was going to be a generic unboxing because I have a lot of loose ends here. Things that I've shown you on the show that I haven't dug into at all. Like this one. This is the 7 Hertz Timeless AE edition. Been sitting here for over a month. Haven't been able to open it and get into it. I just no time. Other shows come for it. And then I've got a big purchase, which I think I'm probably going to bump up because I really want to check these out. And I've got another Blind Audio 46 box sitting here already. I mean, these guys just keep loading me up with stuff. It's amazing. I'm so grateful, but my God, I got to get these shows going, you know. And it's hard when there's construction on the house and Oscars are a week away, and I've got some big shoots in the next week, and I had big shoots this week. It's just a mess. So we're doing our best. We're doing our best. How's everybody doing? You made it through the week. So did I, barely. I feel like I've been run over, yet I haven't. I'm still here. Maybe it would have been easier had I just been run over, you know? We'll check out the chat in just a second, allow some people to filter in. I know I did not announce this episode at all. Like I said, up until 3 o'clock, I was like, it's not going to happen today. It's just not going to happen. And then I'm like, you know what? at least this is a bridge that because I didn't get 133 finished. I was hoping I'd get that thing totally locked down last night and shove it out, but it still needs video coverage. And I don't like sending out stuff with jump cuts in it. Unless the jump cuts are intentional and motivated and, you know, fun. But just pulling up time and, you know, anything like that, I'm like, or mistakes, pulling out mistakes, I'm like, I've never sent shows out like that, so I'm not going to start. Otherwise, you would have had it today with a lot of jump cuts in it, but you know, I want to get the graphics finished right and make it look good, because that's what I think y'all expect from this show, if I'm not mistaken. If I know you guys right, you know, you want something of quality. You don't want just some, you know, what everybody else is doing. So, really looking forward to, I mean, I had so much to say about the Caldera. There's just jam-packed with like little things about it and details and music. There's a huge music section, music that I've tried on it, experiences that I had with it. You know, it's going to be a fun episode. I can't wait for you guys to get that, and it's an episode I know and most people are waiting for, because they want to know. Everybody's curious about this headphone as much as they're curious about anything that's out right now. And there's some great products, great new products. I think we talked about the Woo amp last time, and anybody who went to HeadFi, pardon me, burping, share your experiences down below. What impressed you at HeadFi, or at CanJam in New York? Because that's something that I really was envious. I had serious envy. I've got this space back here. What am I going to do with this? There's got to be something there. We got to put something there. God, I thought I put a note to myself for something I wanted to talk about, but you know, sometimes I lose my own notes. Shoot. The couple of headphones came out. There's a new Fur Audio IEM that came out. That looks really good. The new Dan Clark Audio electrostatic headphone, that's out. That's not out, but it was announced. Some new product that's not quite there yet. And I finally understood what you guys were saying last week about the new HiFiman amp at about $800 that they're claiming will drive the Susvara at $800. It's going to drive the Susvara. Excuse me. I'm going to take that one with a grain of salt. I won't believe that when I see it or hear it, you know. But that's a neat looking thing, you know, where the amp itself is the stand for your headphone. It's vertically oriented, very cool looking. But there's nothing on any of the pages. There's a new electrostatic amp from Headamp that's coming out, and that was at the show. Some people got to hear it. It's called the Grand Cayman. That looked really interesting to me, considering that my issue, you know, I'm afraid that this Blue Hawaii that I have here is a little underpowered for certain headphones, like the Carbon, the Kerbin. So I'm, you know, like that's in play. A lot of stuff is in play as far as what I'm keeping and what I'm getting rid of here. I got to figure out the DAC situation. I'm getting a lot of people telling me what to buy, and I'm like, I don't know, not feeling it yet. Every time I think I've got a solution or I've got a plan and this is what I'm going to do, and there's a lot of stuff that's not for sale right now, and I'm not going to buy new. It's going to be a used product, and it'll be good. It'll be great. I want a great used product. Something. But the amps that are the DACs that are in consideration in the running are I can't pronounce the first word. It's like Takakato Mori Mori. So that's one of them. And then there's the Weiss 501, which is the half rack Weiss, and the Dana Fripp's Terminator. A lot of people are talking about that. Certainly the Hollow Audio May is up there. It's an R2R, but they're all over price wise. So it's like finding the best deal on the right product. The Weiss is the most interesting to me of the bunch. My only knock, and people who are haters are gonna, probably lambaste me for this, but it's not an MQA amp. And I know MQA, and I know the feelings about MQA. I know everybody's upset about MQA and whatever, but I listen to a lot of Tidal, and to not have an MQA decoding amp seems short-sighted for my listening taste. And I know I could go to Qobuz, I could do all this other stuff, but I like Tidal. I really like Tidal. I like the depth and the breadth of their library. I love the Roon integration into Tidal. I like all of those things. And I just remind people that everybody in the world assumed MQA was completely lossless until Golden Sound did testing and found out it wasn't completely lossless. Which tells me everybody was fooled, and that's really what they're angry about, that they didn't know. And it was wrong of MQA. If they knew this, they should have said it. That part is given. It's like the issue with mobile fidelity, and the making digital dubs of the master tapes and then making their records from that. I get it. It's wrong for them to have not disclosed that. However, none of us knew the difference. And that tells me that MQA is pretty damn good. It's good enough to fool the biggest names in the industry, the best ears in the industry. Always just assumed MQA was completely lossless until somebody proved that it wasn't completely lossless. And then it's like, oh, it's terrible sounding. Like, well, it's kind of ridiculous. So I think that MQA is something that I'm putting some weight into as far as a consideration for the next DAC. I would like to get something that decodes MQA. I also like to get something that upsamples, that has some sort of upsampling or oversampling. But I want it to be switchable, that I can turn the oversampling off, much like the M-Scaler. I could always downgrade it if it's not working on a piece of on a file. So these are all important things. These are all important things that I'm considering in a DAC, and so the Weiss is the most attractive to me. I like from a pure DAC standpoint, but the Hollow May is also very interesting to me. A little less so on the Terminator. I'm like, I think it's great, but I don't know if it's the right thing for me. There's a lot out there. There's so much product out there right now. It's just sort of sifting through and getting to a place where I'm really comfortable with whatever it is I buy. Lots of options, kids. I went on a hunt for a Zal to get an order in for a Zal, Z-A-H-L amp. They have that HM1. Yeah, that sounds right. HM1 amp that is just gorgeous and stellar, and it's getting raves. Zal is a maker of consoles, mixing consoles primarily, and they've come out with a headphone amp. And they released it like about third quarter last year, maybe summer last year, and it sold out immediately for 22. It's now sold out through 23, and you can't even pre-order at this point. So I'm like, shit. So I'm hoping somebody will like hear it and maybe not like it, because that's an amp that I really am interested in. It's like the more I've read about it and the more I've heard about it, it takes a different approach. And I'll try to explain this, and I'm gonna get it. I might get it wrong, but I'll try to explain. It takes the exact opposite approach of the Bakun. The Bakun ups the wattage. This Bakun will put out 30 watts ish, 25 to 30 watts, somewhere in there. It's a lot of wattage, it's a lot of power, but it's at a low amperage. The The Zale takes the opposite approach. It puts out a low wattage at a high amperage. So even though you have these headphones like the Susvara that are so hard to drive, it's shoving so much current through them. It doesn't need a lot in the wattage department. Wattage department, or is it the voltage department? It's something like that. But it's the exact polar opposite approach than the Bakun, and that interests me. I'm like, I want to hear if that makes a huge difference. That's something I'm just curious about. I'm a very curious person. So you haven't noticed that. Hey, let's go to the chat real quick. ML Jenkins, cheers, buddy. Cheers. Happy Friday. I need more sleep. Any recommendations? Buy something really expensive. You'll pass out. Howdy, happy Friday. Yeehaw. Don't make me get out my cowboy hat. It's right over there. I'll get it, man. Yeah, the TT2 and M scaler sold. I sold it. I didn't get exactly. It's so, I gotta I gotta have faith in myself a little more and not trip so fast. It had been on the market for about a week or so, and I had some lowball offers right away. I had 3 guys that were like, "I'll pay you $4,000 for the set," and I'm like, the TT2 alone recently sold for $3,800. So no. Well, would you take $4,500? And I'm like, dude, we're not even talking the same language. Like, you're not even close. Like, if he had started at 6, I'm like, okay, we can negotiate. So I had a number of guys like that. I had like 2 or 3 folks who were emailing me going, I want to buy it, I want to buy it, but I only have 5,000. I'm like, well, I can't afford to just give this away because I'm trying to roll this money into the next DAC purchase. So I'm not going to short sell it. And finally I got to somebody who offered $6,150. And he was in town, so I wouldn't have to ship it. He'd just come over and pick it up. So that was and I said, okay. And so he came over and he picked it up, and 2 hours later I had a full price bid on it. somebody like actually, and they paid for it. They paid for it. Like, they sent me the money. And I'm like, because it was on a couple of things. It was on HeadFi, and it was on USAudioMart.com, and it was on US Audio Mart, like, if you buy it. No, it was AudioGone. It was on AudioGone too. It was on AudioGone, and you can pay right away. And he did. And I had to send him a note saying, it just left the house 2 hours ago, dude. I'm so sorry. I didn't even have a chance to pull the ad down yet. But AudioGone was really good, by the way. They gave me their commission back. They didn't even question. They said, hey, we reversed the charge. I'm like, great. Because it's $200 to list on there. They take a cut. You got to get your cut if you're going to be doing the brokering. I understand that. They should. So, yeah, that's sold. ML Jenkins, scotch. Yeah, after this week, I need scotch. The house is rumbling and tumbling, and it's not even fixing the biggest problem. Like, the whole reason I wanted to get the foundation fixed is because in my dining room, it goes like this, and then it goes like that a little bit, just towards the end of the dining room. And so I thought that if we propped up the room that I think is causing all the problems, it would bring that back up to closer, if not perfect, at least pretty close to level, would undo some of the bend in the dining room floor. And they did raise it up. They put a new foundation under it. The house is not moving anymore. That's good. We stopped the bleeding, but didn't do a thing for the floor. The floor still got a nice in it. So yeah, that's, but it's like, what did I do here? There's literally nothing I can see. Can't see any of the work. Can't see anything that they did. I just know that the house has stopped moving. Okay, great. Next, please. Thanks for fixing something I could actually visually see, or I can't visually see. All right. ML Jenkins says the Felix NV tube amp with the Susvara and Elite was really great. Oh, ML made it to Can Jam, I see. Hi-Fi amp is laughable like every other amp they made. 660s is great but overpriced. Oh, really? That's a spicy take, ML Jenkins. wow, everybody's raving about the 660s. I'm like, everybody's going to review them. I don't want to do them. I'm not as interested. The head amp E-Stat really drove well. The X9000, man. I saw some people listening to that in pictures and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that is a headphone that I want in here. And just this week, somebody had listed one, and I was like, I just can't. I'm like, I can't buy another E-Stat at, it was like $5,700 it was listed at, and I'm like, I gotta put the money to a DAC. I've got to get a killer DAC in here. Next purchase is gonna, as I have another purchase sitting in a box here. It's a high-end headphone. It's like one of the top. It's one of the ones that have been on the short list for a long time. I'm gonna leave it at that. And then another Audio 46 box here. Very exciting. I'm very close to sale on the Focal Utopia OG, the 2019. I have that listed at $2,000. It's the lowest price anywhere. And I also have some extras for that I'll let people buy out for a discount. There's a very fancy Norn cable that's gorgeous that I'm letting go for. It's like I've got to charge a little more for that. It's like $300, $350, somewhere in there. And then, but then half price on all the ear pads. I have tons of extra Focal ear pads from Deconi, $50 a piece. Like just letting them go with the headphone if anybody wants them. So somebody's going to get a good deal on that, because at $2,000 you're going to be able to sell that headphone for as much as you buy it for. It will sell again at $2,000. You know, you'd lose at most $100 on the deal. Like, to get a chance to play with a Utopia for a few weeks or a few months or whatever it is you want to keep them for, that's a pretty good deal. So I'm hoping that the guy keeps coming back to me. What about this and what about that? And I'm like, look, you know, and I laid it out for him. So I'm waiting for his response. I think that's going to sell. I think that's very close to selling. But jump in, anybody wants it. Mola Tambak. The T word is just going to get me. Somebody wrote it down there. Yeah, that's it. I butchered that. I knew I'd butcher that name. And Steve, what's his name? Guttenberg, the audiophiliac dude. He did a nice review of that too. But it's hard because the problem is, like with the reviews, you don't know what else they've heard. So they're saying, well, this is the best DAC I've ever heard. Yeah, but have you heard this? And have you heard that? And I saw a review on, I had a line on a Bartok, which is the DCS, pardon me for the cough. I had a line on a DCS Bartok, and I was like, well, that's an amp. You know, that's a DAC. That's a DAC to be reckoned with. It does streaming and all that stuff. And then I saw a review on it that's like, oh, it's just not very, you know, it's kind of soft. It's kind of soft. And then somebody chimed in after him and said, soft? What are you listening to? And the guy's like, EDM. Like, okay, well, you know, it's soft on EDM. Well, that's not exactly something that I'm going to be checking out on the thing. He's like, with classical music and native instruments, it's fantastic. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of equipment. So I'm like, well, that's still on the table too, because there's a good price on a Bartok out there. That I'm considering. So just all these things are just thoughts, man. It's like I just don't have the feel like that's the one, and I don't want to move until I've got that's the one. You know what I mean? That's really Berkeley reference to Ace of Spades. That's another one that was on my list. Absolutely. Defer to no one says the SR1A, the TC, the Susvara are still king of the hill. For me, I would add the Caldera into that, as you'll find out in the next mix. I think that the Caldera is every bit as good as the SR1A. I'm like, I've heard it, and it isn't. It's kind of its own thing, and it's a little bit off the beaten path. I don't think you can. It's not fair, I don't think, to compare that with some of these other headphones, because they do something really different. They present sound in a very different way. So it's like. And in a way, part of me I'm not interested in that, because I think I would get tired of that way very quickly. I think it would be really cool for the first bit, and then I would be like, okay, I'm kind of over this. I'm like, I want to just go back to my normal headphone listening. That's my fear on the SR1. The TC and the Susvara, absolutely, they're right up there. I still think the Elite is, though a little bit, a bit shy technically. Overall, as a total package, is in the short discussion for best headphones. The LCD-4, and I think the Caldera is firmly in that upper tier. It does a little bit of what we love about all of those headphones. And it might even lead in a few categories, as you'll find out in the next episode, the next major episode of this show. I can't wait for you guys to see that, because I put a lot of effort in to, sort of going through that stuff. The new Abyss closeback is awkward. I read a lot of interesting statements about the Abyss closeback, and I wish them well. Last Rhino says, didn't fool Golden Sound. He and other audiophiles suspected for a long time MQA is inferior sounding. It's why he did his investigation. Yeah, but I think the majority of the mainstream industry was buying MQA, and I mean, it's because it does sound good. It sounds really good, and I would just say, until these guys start truly blind taste testing this stuff, I got to take it with a grain of salt, because nobody's willing to do the blind taste test on any of this stuff, because they don't want to be proven to be hearing what the accepted whatever is, the accepted norm is. It's like the cable guys. Like, yeah, until you actually do blind testing on your $3,500 cable versus my monoprice cable, I'm not interested. I'm not as interested in this discussion. Now, look, I like a nice cable, but I also know that a lot of it is because I like the feel of it. I like the look of it. Is it affecting the sound drastically? No. Electrons are passing or they're not passing. How they're we're getting. It's just like I haven't heard a cable change a headphone significantly, like fundamentally change the way a headphone sounds. I get into some of this stuff is like it's interesting to talk about, but I think in the end it's like, that's just my personal take, and everybody can believe what they want to believe. That's cool. I'm okay. It's a big tent. Anybody can go where they want, but MQA to me, does it do what they say it does? No. Did it do it? But does it sound really good? Yeah, it sounds really good. Sounds really good. And for a delivery system for almost any song you want to hear instantly, it's one of the best out there. So I think I would like to get an MQA decoding DAC. That's something that I would like. That's personal, because it's how I listen to music. So it makes sense to find a DAC that does that. And the Mola Mola does not decode MQA either. So I'm like, that's the one thing that's kind of holding me back on that. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe I'll hear enough of it. Maybe I'll get to hear some of this stuff before I buy it for a change. How about that? Whoa. Call me crazy. Mola Mola had their new DAC with the new Woo amp, and it was nice. Yeah, I believe that all of these things sound great. I think they all sound great. I think it just comes down to taste and brand. Do you like the brand? Do you like the way it's laid out? But most of these guys aren't putting out crap at $5,000. There's very few $5,000 products out there that you can go, oh, that's really bad. You may not like it, but whatever. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's exciting. It's exciting to have this time to figure it out. And in the meantime, I'm using the old Macintosh back here, which won't stay on for a stream. I'm using the old Macintosh back there as my DAC. And you know what? Macintosh they're not exactly stupid either. They kind of knew what they were doing when they put a DAC in that thing. It sounds really good. Is it as good as the Cord? It's less detailed, but it sounds good. It's good body. Good body to the sound. It's got a nice timbre. Really good. So I'm not disappointed that I don't have the Cord stack here right now. And I'm excited about what I can get in here that will be different. And an R2R DAC is kind of appealing. That's why the old the Hollow May. That's why the Hollow May looks so interesting, the KTE, because it is R2R, and a lot of people, I haven't had an R2R deck. I've had all these proprietary, all of the DCS stuff is ring DAC, whatever the hell that means, and they won't tell you, and and then the other ones are step DAMP, so it's like, or step DAC, so it's like, whatever, ladder DACs. Let's see what else we have. I told you a previous TT2M scaler sold for $6,200 the week before yours. Oh, okay. Well, and I had seen one sell for $6,900, a black on black set. So we did okay. I'm not. But wouldn't you know it, somebody came in at $6,500 2 hours after I sold it. I'm like, it's so difficult. So I feel good about it. The guy who got it is a real nice guy, and he's enjoying it. So he gave me I got a couple of words from him saying, hey, I'm just checking this out, but it's really promising. Everything's really promising off the bat. So I'm like, good. I'm glad, because I was impressed by it. I like the, and then somebody else wrote me and said, best move you've made in a long time. Getting rid of the cord stack. I'm like, yes, because it's so awful. It's almost unlistenable, isn't it? That M scaler with the TT2, you almost can't even plug it in. It's like it just makes the headphones shriek. This is funny. Hipster Cow is an SR1A if I want to have it in for review. Maybe down the road. My biggest problem right now, guys, is time to make the shows and do the reviews. I'm just so stretched out, this thin, and there's other things going on, like even business stuff, like boring ass business stuff. I've got taxes coming up. I've got all this stuff. Oscars are a week and a half away. I'm like, there's so much going on. It's like, how am I going to squeeze shows out while I'm doing all this other stuff? And it's like, it's like anything you sent me is like, it could sit here for as long as a month before I get to it. And that's just shitty to do to somebody. And I'm like, as much as I would like to hear that stuff, I'm like, it's just like, I'd feel bad. I just feel bad having it sit here. But I so appreciate the offer and stuff. That's so cool. You guys would be, wanting to send something to me for me to review. And hopefully, there'll come a time when on this show when I can just like devote time just to reviews. But we got to get a whole bunch more subscribers. So subscribe to the Director's Garage if you haven't. Help a brother out. Only you can stop forest fires. ML Jenkins says his wife overall chose the Elite out of everything at Can Jam as the winner, which dumbfounded me into oblivion. You know what? There's a case for that. And ML, this is my take. Are they the most technical headphone ever? No. But they stitch the sound together really, really well. Better, like when you listen to the Susvara, stuff comes out of the mix at you. Your attention is taken away by all of the technical things it does. And maybe there comes a point at which that sort of fades a little bit and you become less like sensitive to it, and it becomes less revolutionary when you hear it the first time, or first few times you hear it on a really good amp for the first time. But it does split the music apart, and it's not entirely like this seamless thing. And the thing that the Elite gets right is it stitches it together. It's got tremendous bass response. Like the bass on the Elite can't touch the bass on the bass on the Elite is more robust, I should say, because there's some things, like get into detail in the bass. Yeah, the Susvara's got better detailed bass, but if you like a full bottom, and who doesn't like a full bottom, boys? The Elite is going to give you that full bottom end. It may be a little thick. Some people may not like it, but if that's what you want, and if that's what you're into, it's a beautiful, warm sound, and that does well. And then secondly is comfort. There is not a more comfortable headphone in the world than the Meze Elite and Meze Empyrean. And I have the Elite, and I bought the Empyrean ear pads and forgave some of the technicals of having a thinner ear pad, because that big old fat thick ear pad feels so good. You can sleep in the damn things. Like they're just, it's like a warm ass hug, and it's like, who doesn't like that? So there are things like, and that's important to me. Like to me, comfort is as important as any other element of the sound. And I know other people are like, no, it's just about the sound, and I'll drive spikes into my ears if it gets me more detail. You know, I get it. I get that compulsion, but I also say there are those of us who are like, the whole thing does matter. And that's why it's so exciting to see ZMF on this insane tear that they're on, because they're building comfortable headphones that are the prettiest things on the planet to look at. You just, they're just like, they're an object. I just want that, you know? Whereas, you know, you look at the TC and the 1266 TC, and you look at the Susvara, and it's like, you know, and then you see this gorgeous piece of wood that's been hand polished to perfection, and there's great, though, attention's paid to which way the wood grain is flowing, and when they mount the drivers inside and put it all together, and then they put a grill on it that's been polished by the hands of elves and at the North Pole, and then it gets sent back, you know, whatever. And it's like, it's just so incredibly good. I mean, boys, holy shit. It wasn't anything important. But look at that. I mean, look at that. It's like, this is a piece of art. This didn't go down. What went down was the overweighted LCD-4 in the background, which this is an OG, and it's a little beat up anyway. So if it falls over, nobody's going to say anything. And the LCD-4 is like, is that all you got? Because thing's tough. So yeah, but it's like, it's great to see ZMF, because they're making really comfortable headphones that look like unlike anything else in the world. You know, these things are, it's an object. It's like an art piece of art. And it's great to see them put it all together. And they're on such a winning streak. God, the Caldera, the Atrium, there's an Atrium closed on the way. Yeah, just, you know, how long until they do an E-stat? That's what I want to know. Get me in line. Get me in line now. Take my money. Okay, I'm going to read some of these, get us caught up a little bit in the chat. So I understand, ML. I understand why she liked the Elite. I love the Elite, and to me, in my last shootout, I ranked it second, which a lot of people thought was shitty, but I'm like, at that time, I didn't have this Bakun here that could bring the Susvara up to a level where I thought it was like, oh, that's really special. It finally sounded special. Because until then, it was just an ordinary sounding headphone on all my other amps. So there you go. It's shoved 25 watts at something and it starts performing. Who knew? Hi, I'm Leon. Cheers, Leon. If we haven't said hello to you before. He hopes I'm doing well. I hope I'm doing well too, but I'm not. still jacked up here. He got a Cayin N8 3A tube amplifier, and it's rocked his world for some tube rolling. He's going to save up for a second-hand Abyss 1266 because of this amp. Well, just make sure it'll drive it. I don't know the power rating on that amp, so it could be anything. Anything could happen. Just double check and make sure. Make sure that it's got the power output you need. And that somebody else has heard it and said, yeah, this is because the 1266 is tricky, and I didn't really get it performing up to its level until I got to the Ferrum level, and then it really shined. It really became something special. Because on the what did I have? I had the head amp, GSX Mark II, the big one, and it was like, it's okay. And it doesn't do that great on the WA5LE. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. That amp opened it up, like really did something special. That's the amp that my buddy was here and he like started crying when he heard them. on certain things. These guys are cleaning up outside. Nah. I may have to go soon. Okay, so, yeah, but, you know, cheers. I mean, God, great amp, great looking amp. I just hope it drives make sure it drives it for you. See if you can try one or get somebody to lend you one first. I would tell you to do that just to make sure that it's a good pairing. Leon and Mamel Jenkins says the same thing. It's a love match, my man. Super excited for you. Yeah, it's great. It's great. And some of those Cayin amps are just sexy. God, they're good looking. Ace Spade says, does anyone compared a final D8000 with the Susvara? Budgeting for his next purchase, and these are my targets. Nope. I have not. I have still, the D8000 is still on my short list. That's a headphone I keep looking for. A couple have popped up recently, and just haven't quite got there. Oh, and then you're looking for the limited edition. Yeah. No, and that's even further out, because I'd be happy just to get a D8000 or a D8000 Pro in here, because I want to hear it. It's just a headphone that I haven't had a chance to spend any time with, and everybody raves about it. They get great reviews, so I would love to just spend a day with them and hear them, and run tracks through them and see what they're about. Very excited about that. But yeah, Emil Jenkins says he had a hard time with the Caldera. It weighs a lot. It does, kind of, I guess, but it's lighter than the Atrium, I found. So, you know, gauge that, I guess. He's only heard the 8000 Pro, but loved it on almost everything. And that's just a headphone that's there. It's like there's some stuff that's just out there that I'm like, gotta get it, want to get it in here. But I gotta sell stuff first, so I gotta hope those Utopias go. At some point, and then I can sell some other things. Last round says, why not sell the Bakun and the Susvara and get some funds for other gear? Well, I think the Bakun is a smart headphone amp to keep around because it drives so well. But selling the Susvara is not out of the question at this point. I think I've run the Susvara as far as I want to run it. I've heard everything it has. I know what it's about. I think it's a great world-class headphone, no question. I don't know that they still don't. I don't get excited to listen to the Susvara the way I do the Caldera. The Caldera is more interesting to me, and mostly because of the bass. The bass on the Caldera is so good. I really think that they've, you know, and I would also keep in mind that's ZMF's first planar magnetic headphone ever, and to come out with something that's that good on your first swing the plate. I mean, dude, how'd you do that? You know, it's that good. But selling the Susvara makes sense. I don't think selling the Bakun makes sense. I love the Bakun. I don't think I want to get rid of that. And there are a few people who upgraded to the Enlium that said that the Bakun did certain things better. So I'm like, I don't know. I feel like the need to jump up there. But I also, you know, I think that would change maybe if I can get my hands on one of these Zales, or Zal, whatever they are. The Zale amp, the HM1. Just spectacular and interesting amp. But I'd want it, pardon me, I'm burping. Guys, burping. I would want to get it here with the Bakun so I could test the Bakun against it. That would be a shootout video I would love to do. It's like, how is, you know, what's it doing differently and which one do I like more? That would be interesting to me. Robert Langer from Japan. Good morning from Japan. He's headed to Tokyo today to his favorite headphone shop. God, they got some headphone shops in Japan, guys. I'm telling you, like, they ain't nothing like this. The States are like, it's child's play compared to what's going on in Japan in the headphone world. It's another level over there. I swear to God. It's like, if you thought we're nuts, those folks are just bananas, especially on IEMs. Oh my God. It's just crazy in Japan. It's awesome. So it's like, if I could get some Japanese viewers watching this show, I think the world of that. They are so tuned in to this market over there. Amazing. The fervor and the passion for headphones in Japan is unlike anywhere else in the world. Where he can listen to almost anything. He will check out the ZMF for the first time. Excited. Yeah, do it for sure. Absolutely. Tommy V keeps retracting messages. What are you saying, Tommy V? Give me something. What are you drinking? Speaking of which, cheers everybody. It's Friday. Happy hour hump day. I'm not going to go too deep today because I got stuff to do. I'm just excited that I got my camera back. It's back in the room. The HA3A drives the LCD4 to the best he's ever heard them, which hopefully means good things to the star. That's a good sign, Leon, right there. Because the LCD4 is no... This ain't the easiest bad boy in the world to drive. And boy, talk about a heavy headphone. Boy, if you think if the Caldera is giving you a neck ache, these things will tear your head off. They are a chunky piece of business. These things are very heavy, but they're so rewarding. I love these headphones. There's a reason, you see the stuff on the stack back here. This is all stuff that I regularly listen to, Here's the Elites right here with my big fat cups on them, with big fat Empyrean cups on them. Get the cables off the floor so I don't roll over them with my wheels on my chair. Yeah, there's every reason in the world. Sorry, distracted. Put the atrium back there to counterbalance so we don't get another tippy situation. Yeah, there's every reason in the world. I say this probably once an episode. The LCD4 is the best bargain in the used headphone world right now. Like if you get so much. They're selling for $2,000, $2,100 on the used market. It's such a steal at that price. It's so much performance for the money. It's crazy. So good. Leon, he has 2 tubes, Quicksilver and Oris HA232 SE. I don't know those. Both are around the HA3A price point. Quicksilver is good enough with his 5TC. The Oris is not enough. Oh, those are other amps. 2 amps. Yeah, and I have like the WA5 LE down here, which you can pick up around $2,000-ish right now, but it's not as good as I still think the Ferrum stack is the better deal. For $2,300 you can get into the Ferrum stack, and that will easily, or you can get the Burson too. I think the Burson is very similar. It has a little more power maybe, but they're both really good. They're really good. Like, they're a nice target to hit. That's a solid level. When you get to the Ferrum stack and when you get to the Burson, I think you've reached one of the plateaus. You can go up from there. You can definitely go up from there. There's stuff out there that's crazier, like this Bakun stuff, the Enlium stuff, that Zao lamp. There's stuff that's out there. I'm sure the Lena is probably pretty good. It's really expensive, but I'm sure it's pretty good. There's stuff out there that's above it, but as a that's a really good place to sit while you're planning your next move up. If you're planning a next move up, it's a good place to just stay, land, and enjoy some music too, by the way. DMS did an unboxing of the ZMF Atrium in purple, and it's freaking gorgeous. Yeah, I personally, there's nothing wrong with them. I mean, they're artists over there, and they do amazing things with them. I love this weathered old look. This weathered old look is, God, it's just such a great looking design. I'm like, to come up with something that looks like it's just been around for 100 years is just so cool, and it sounds that good. I'm like, oh, they just did a number on that. I love that aged, weathered look. But yeah, I mean, and I've seen, like, he also does stuff with resins where there's like swirly patterns and stuff going through. So cool, so good. He does hybrids where he mixes wood with resin, like half of it's wood, half of it's resin. Does different things. I don't know that, I would assume it's got to somehow change a little bit of the sound a little bit, because I mean, you're going to get, there's harmonic frequencies. I think that they resonate at different levels depending on the material used, but interesting to consider. And then he's got some exotic woods that have got all kinds of crazy grain pock marks and burls and stuff in it. Zach he's just an artist with wood. It's just amazing, and materials. Does great stuff. He's like the over-ear version of Noble. Noble does these crazy amazing things with stuff that you just wouldn't think would make a headphone material, and it's like, whoa, that's really attractive. Unbelievable. Yeah, so I'm sure it is. I haven't seen DMS's I haven't had time for anybody's headphone shows lately. Michael, have you considered the Warwick Acoustic Bravura? That's the cheaper one, right? That's like the one that's about $6 to $8 grand, somewhere in there. I've looked at it, and then I'm like, but it's another E-stat, and it's like, until somebody can solve that bass problem on the E-stats, the Carbon is the one that comes closest, but I don't think that this Blue Hawaii Special Edition is enough to drive it. So, because I have to max out the volume to get the bass to activate. Now, somebody said if I get a more powerful E-stat amp, it will activate that bass at a lower volume because it's got more juice going to whatever. So I'm like, well, that may be, but it's like I got the Blue Hawaii because everybody by default says that's the amp. That's like, if the short list of electrostatic amps, of the best electrostatic amps, never excludes the Blue Hawaii Special Edition. So I thought it was a nice, safe purchase, and I found a deal on it, so I was like, great. So they had one. Oh, he said they had one at Can Jam. It was stuck on low gain, so it was hard to tell if it was worth the 6,000 feet for an all-in-one. Yeah, and that's the thing. You got to buy the Energizer and the headphone. It doesn't, and the ear speaker, as they like to say in the. Too fun. So I'm still like, E-stats are still not there for me yet. I haven't heard as much as the Carbon is amazing. The speed of the Carbon is just like phenomenal. And even though I think that the 009S was even faster, I assume the X9000 is probably going to be faster still. I don't know. I haven't heard the X9000, and every time one pops up, it's like I'm not in the right place financially to spend the money. And I think they need to take that initial hit still. People are still trying to charge as much as they paid for them on the used market. And I'm like, I'm not about that. I'm like, just buy a new one if that was the case. So I'm a little hesitant to like jump in. And they need a little more traffic, a chance for people to actually use them. Yeah, also on the Stax 9000. Yeah. So, the feedback is the bass. The feedback is the bass. What are you saying, Ace of Spades? The feedback is that the bass is solved on the Bravura. But I watched some reviews a while ago. I mean, that headphone system's been out for a while, and I think it was like last summer or something. I caught somebody who compared the Bravura to their $30,000 one, and they said, "Well, the $30,000 one is perfect." And I'm like, I'm not buying the $30,000 one. You can't. I don't have that level of success here yet. But that's great. But borrow the money, bro. Yeah. Just lend me your credit card. I'll borrow it. Yeah. Going in debt for headphone stuff, not the best idea. Not the best play. So says my accountant. Yes, the bass issue is solved with that headphone, which is why I thought it would interest you. Yeah, I've but I saw something where they compared both that $8,000 one or the $6,000 one, and then they compared the $30,000 one, and they said, well, the $30,000 one's really the one to get. And I'm like, okay, well. This will all be solved maybe at the next Can Jam. Maybe I won't get sent to England for the Queen's death this year, and I can actually sit down and hear some of this stuff. Because I wasn't able to hear it. I wasn't at Can Jam last year in LA because I got sent out of town because the Queen passed away. So I had to go cover that. So that happens. You miss some stuff. Missed it. Why are you moving? Pip-Boy says, may have missed it. Why are you moving the KSE 1500s? Well, honestly, Pip-Boy, I'm open to selling anything. I'm open to putting anything up on the block. Because I need to turn over material to get more new material in here. So it's like I can't get emotionally attached to gear. The stuff that I really kind of want to keep right now, I still kind of want to keep the TC. I still kind of want to keep the Caldera. I like the Atrium and the Elite. I think those are like, but everything else I think I would sell, or other than the two Nobles, I would keep my IEM Nobles, because one of them was a pair that was custom made for me by John Moulton himself, and I'm like, that's a personal pair that will never go away. I will keep those till the day they'll put those in my coffin. You know, it's awesome. But and then the Ragnar. That's still too new to me. I'm still checking them out, that's going to be around for a bit here. Those are the headphones that I really don't feel comfortable getting rid of. Everything else I think I would sell if the price came. I have them up for sale at different levels, but I don't think there's anything else here that I'm passionate about. Like, I have to have that headphone here. Yeah, I don't know. So I would sell anything. And I'm honestly like the 1500 KSE 1500s. I pull them out once in a while and listen to them, but it's not a headphone that gets a lot of use. Because they're very specific, and they've got to have, they have the pack that's got to be with you all the time in order to use them, and they're still astounding technically for an IEM, but I don't think that they're as special with their technicals are on par with the Odin and on par with the Ragnar. They're more musical, I think, than the Odin. The Odin screech at me, but the Ragnar is like, it's a cut above that headphone, I think. So it's like, yeah, I don't feel like the need to keep it. They're great, and they're kind of fun to play with because they're so weird and quirky, which makes it kind of fun. But I don't feel the need to keep it. So that's up for sale. I don't know how serious I am about selling. I have to look at the prices of some of this stuff. Some of the stuff I just threw up there and threw a price on it, so if someone wants to pay that, they can have them. And I kind of need to reevaluate some of that. I'm kind of passionate about moving the Focal Utopia right now, because that's a headphone that I've taken as far as I can take it. I've taken it as far as I can take it. So I'm like, I don't know where else to go with it. So I'm like, well, maybe it's time to say goodbye to that one then. So that would be fine. But I'd sell pretty much anything. There's nothing that I can't sell that I can't buy back. It's like I don't get attached to stuff. It's just stuff. Fun stuff, but it's stuff. So I didn't care about get rid of the cord stack. It's like, it's a holy grail for some people, but I'm like, it's a DAC. It did a job. It sounds really good. I want to hear something that sounds even better, hopefully, or different, or better in a different way, or different in a better way. I don't know. Pick your poison. Convince Me Audio has a review of the Barrera worth a watch. Okay. I don't have a lot of time to be watching YouTube videos right now. I'm trying to get this show out for you guys. I want to get that up, posted on the Caldera, and I've got another one to shoot on the back end of that right away. We'll see if it's going to be a box or if it's going to be unboxing all these little things that I can then clear out and put away somewhere, because they're all sitting around. Got a pile of small things that I want to unbox. And do that on an episode, do a shorter episode, maybe that I can turn around fast. That's kind of the rough plan, but, I reserve the right to change my opinion on anything. Last few here, and then we're going to go, because I got other stuff to do. But I want to check in with you guys and see how your weeks went. So cool. We got a chance to connect. I know everybody couldn't come because it was a short little notice here, but so cool you guys showed up. Thank you for showing up. So cool. Leonic, I met Convince Me Audio at Can Jam London. That's a cool place to go. I love London. London is my favorite town in the world, I think. Put his hand out to shake, didn't realize he was blind at the time. It got awkward. Wow. Oh, that's my wife. That's the missus. All right, guys, I'm going to call this here because I'm going to take this phone call because that is my wife, and I'll call her right back. So thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you guys for stopping by today. Sorry, she just texted. And I will see you guys next week. I'm going to have a video up sometime in the next couple of days. It's close to finished, and we'll get it done, and then we'll see that, and then we'll be back on a live stream sometime next week too. I'll give you guys more notice next week. Thank you guys for showing up today, and I hope you had a good time. It was fun to have a discussion. I love doing this live stream, and we'll see you guys before you know it. All right, let's see if I can get off the air here.